Hi, I'm Dean Bushmiller from Expanding Security, and I want to tell you about our course from EXIN, the Cloud Computing Foundation Certification. Why should you listen to me? Well, I have the 3 major cloud certifications that are vendor neutral at this point: EXIN, CompTIA's, and the CCSK from the Cloud Security Alliance. I've got 17 security and technology certifications, and I've taken over 75 professional exams that amount to all those certifications. I have a cloud security practice. Actually, it's more based around penetration testing and then consulting with clients on how to protect themselves. I have had a successful migration of a large organization to the cloud from a co-location, and actually that's now 2 of them. And those organizations listen to me, and I'm proud to call them my clients. So I've done a little bit of cloud work, and I've done a lot of teaching, and hopefully I can make this fun for you. Let's talk about the certification, the prerequisites, and the suggested path that I offer up to you, the certification and the exam itself, and we'll look at all the details of the exam and the preparation documents that you might be interested in choosing from. So the certification is by EXIN. They're in charge of the cloud certification. They started off as an ITIL testing center, and now they've kind of branched out into the cloud and a couple of other certifications. And they charge $179 for the exam. You must buy that certification voucher directly from them. I don't think there's any other way to get it. What should you know before you walk into this exam? I think it would be reasonable if you read some ISO 27001 documentation and you had a fair grounding in ITIL knowledge. Those pieces of data can be gotten. You can reach out and grab the books on those. And if you had that experience, I think you'd be well suited for the EXIN. Also, you might want to think about Network Plus from CompTIA as another certification that can help you. It's not that you have to have this knowledge before you walk in. It would just help support and make the questions a little easier to understand for the exam itself. So let's talk about the content of the exam. And there are 5 major chunks to this exam: the principles, implementing and managing, using cloud computing, security and compliance, and then finally evaluation of cloud computing. And I want to dig down into each one of these elements. In Domain 1, the principles, we talk about the basic concepts of cloud computing. CC is cloud computing. The 4 main deployment models and the 3 main service models that you can expect to run into when dealing with cloud computing. Also in Domain 1, we talk about the evolution toward cloud computing, kind of the history of things, the role of networks and servers, the internet, how virtualization works, and managed services under cloud computing. Lastly, in Domain 1, we talk about the architectures of cloud computing, the difference between single-purpose and multi-purpose architectures, and we start talking about service-oriented architecture. Finally, the drivers and limitations of cloud computing, what's appropriate and inappropriate. In Domain 2, we talk about implementing and managing. Now, if you're going to build a local cloud environment, you should know about the main components of a cloud environment and how they all interconnect, what the protocols are and what the procedures are. The use of virtual private networking to connect to that cloud computing, and also if you're doing local area access, what protocols you can expect to run into. There is going to be a risk of connecting the local cloud network to the public internet, and you need to explore that risk and understand that before you actually get into it. Finally, in Domain 2, we talk about the principles of managing cloud services, the use of IT service management principles like ITIL and managed service levels and what you can expect from them. In Domain 3, we talk about how users can access the cloud. What kind of protocols are in place? Usually we're talking about browsers here, web applications, and we talk about the use of thin clients as opposed to thick clients, because for the cloud, the processing is done somewhere else. Finally, about the use of mobile devices attaching to the cloud. They're still running over a browser, but there are certain problems and elements that we run into in that set. In Domain 3, we also talk about how cloud computing can be used for business processes, the impact of cloud computing on your primary processes for your organization, and the roles of standard applications in collaboration and how they would fit in. You want to look at your service provider. So now how can it be used for business, but also the service providers and evaluating them. Finally, the benefits and risk of providing cloud-based services. You could be on the service side and offering that up. In Domain 4, we talk about security and compliance. What are the risks of cloud computing and the known mitigation measures? And by the way, they actually reach out to another certification body called the Cloud Security Alliance, and they look at their security risk and their mitigation security tools or the controls that are put out there. Also, we need to deal with managing identity and privacy in cloud computing, and specifically speak about identity management and privacy and compliance issues. In 5, we talk about the business case for cloud computing, the cost, the possible savings, operational and staffing benefits, how that helps you, and the evaluation of cloud computing implementations and what's good for your organization and what's not good for your organization. Let's talk about the exam details. Now, this exam is put online, and I'm going to talk very particularly about how they do it at EXIN, because it's very different than a lot of other certifications that you may have taken in the past. It's not signed up for. You don't arrive at a location. You actually can do this from your house. There are 40 questions on this exam, and you get 60 minutes to do those 40 questions. You need to get 26 correct, or a 65% passing. You can't have any open book, no notes, no nothing. You need to make sure that you are prepared for that exam and that you can sit down at your own home and take that exam.